This shit is embarrassing, because I remember being in the crowd on the night that we left the EU officially, 4 years ago to this day, and trust me, I didn't want to be there. Because I'd given up everything in my life for 2 years. I was living in Vienna, so I gave up my flat, my job, my friends, the woman I was seeing. I'd sacrificed my health, my physical safety, because I was getting so many death threats that my number was on a special list with the Metropolitan Police, such that if I called them, it would have been automatic blue flashing lights. All to make one very simple point. The 52% who voted for Brexit, those 17.4 million people, didn't all want the same thing. Unlike the 48% who voted Remain, because that's defined in international law by the treaties of the European Union. And there I was that night, and I could see somebody in the crowd with a sign that said, Boris equals Brino, Brexit in name only. So even right up to the last second that we left the EU, it was visibly clear that those who voted for Brexit weren't all going to be happy with what we got. Which brings us to today. The government just published their new offer for the DUP, the Unionist Party in Northern Ireland, to solve the Brexit mess that has kept Northern Ireland without a government for the last 2 years. Because peace in Northern Ireland depends on effectively having no border controls between either Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, or between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK. And here's the answer to that the government just published. A legal requirement that all new legislation is assessed as to whether or not it impacts on trade between Northern Ireland and Great Britain. And that's because under the Brexit deal, Northern Ireland still follows EU rules. And so in order to avoid the need for border controls, Rishi Sunak is proposing that Parliament be effectively on notice that it shouldn't really go too far away from EU rules because that risks breaking up the United Kingdom. Like, this is a government that has spent the last 8 years saying that they plan to take back control of British laws and save this country from the evil EU. And now they're telling Parliament, you have to do what the EU says or you'll break the country apart. Like, this is embarrassing. And the journalists and politicians who kept repeating, oh, but you can't keep voting until you get the answer you want, even though it was very clear that the Brexiteers weren't getting what they wanted either, you've got blood on your hands. Because you weakened this country's economy and NHS during a poverty crisis and a pandemic. That shit is criminal.